And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're getting there. We're getting there. Like to be a little quicker, so do me a favor. Hit subscribe, watch, comment. Keep those comments coming and share with a friend, because the stupidity coming out of D.C., as I say all the time, it's boundless. Every day you wake up, 4:30, 5:30, 6, 7, whatever the time is, and there's already chaos coming out of D.C. that we have to contend with. I mean, just this past week, Trump decides that he's going to target American universities, specifically Harvard this week. Now, this past week during a presser, Trump was asked why he was taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status. Play the clip.
That was wrong. Why are you considering changing the tax status of Harvard?
Because I think Harvard's a disgrace. I think what they did was a disgrace. They're obviously anti-Semitic, and all of a sudden they're starting to behave. But when you see what they were saying, what they were doing, when you see the way they took care of events, when you watch that woman, that horrendous president that ruined the image of Harvard, maybe permanently, in Congress, in the halls of Congress, when you take a look at what happened there, it was horrific. And, I've looked at a lot having to do with it. I'm not involved in it. It's being handled by lawyers. I read about it just like you did. But tax-exempt status, I mean, it's a privilege. It's really a privilege. And it's been abused by a lot more than Harvard, too. By a lot more than Harvard.
He has nothing to do with it. It's being handled by the lawyers. So far, that just seems to be a common theme for him on basically everything from Garcia all the way now, of course, to the universities. But here's the crazy thing. Trump is claiming that all of this, all of the pressure on the universities that they are placing upon them, it's because of anti-Semitic problems. It's all about anti-Semitism. But we know that this isn't true. It's not totally true. I want to show you what Molly Jong-Fast had to say about this point. Play the clip.
The fact is, in this case, it's Trump going after the elites. He knows what he's doing. Politically, it's not going to hurt him. I think these universities have enough money to cover their legacies. They got a lot of money to handle it, so they're going to be able to take care of themselves. I don't want to be loose about this, but I think Trump targeting these universities is probably not the worst move he ever made.
I'm going to respectfully push back on this. I totally disagree. This is thought policing 101. This is not okay. The truth is, and I say this as a Jew, this is not. They are using anti-Semitism as a cloak. Right? If this administration really cared about anti-Semitism, there's a lot of stuff they could do. This is not about that. This is about targeting universities. This is about targeting speech. This is right out of an authoritarian playbook. And this is, and they may say that it's one thing, but what I've been really impressed with is that we're seeing a lot of universities push back because they know this is illegal. So we have, right after Harvard did it, we saw MIT go right after that. We had already seen the president of Wesleyan, Michael Roth, do a really great job of pushing back. He was joined by the president of Amherst. There are huge numbers of academics and academic institutions that are going to push back on this because this is absolute government overreach at the highest order. It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism and everything to do with authoritarianism.
Former President Obama.
100% accurate. In fact, I wrote about this in my Substack when I talked about, the famous poem, They Came for Us, by Martin Niemöller, that haunting poem, which was never about poetry. It was a warning. And as I wrote in my Substack, a truth carved out of guilt and ash. And we are right now staring down the same damn fire. In my Substack, I even write, so ask yourself this. When they came for the immigrants, the press, the prosecutors, the librarians, the judges, the drag queens, the teachers, the women, the trans kids, the historians. Did you speak out or did you wait? Because soon enough, it won't be them they're coming for. It'll be you. And that's the whole point. Molly Jung is right. She's 100% right. This is not about anti-Semitism. This is specifically about Trump using it as a way to try to explain governmental overreach. In fact, Representative Jake Alkenclass explained that pulling research grants from like Harvard, it's not going to protect Jewish students. Play the clip.
You say it's the wrong way. What's the impact of freezing these funds?
The impact is research that doesn't get done. Research into how stroke survivors can learn to use their limbs again. Research into how to address sickle cell disease throughout the United States. Research into the origins of autism and the countless other important work that researchers across Harvard and its academic medical centers do on behalf of public health, on behalf of national security, on behalf of Americans.
Unbelievable. Again, pull money from the people most in need, right? Sick. The people who are sick. Daniel Cohen was on CNN talking about how Trump is putting Americans in danger by pulling, as an example, Harvard's research funding. He's right also. I mean, who is going to suffer? Not the healthy, not the billionaire class, his billionaire bros who can go ahead, fly to anywhere in the world on their own private planes at any given moment in order to pay for any latest, research or any latest cure for a disease or an issue. What happens to the rest of us? Play the clip.
It's important to outline what's at stake with the federal funding, just to humanize it a little bit. Previous federal funding to Harvard helped fund childhood leukemia research that increased the survival rate from 10% to 90%. It helped fund key breast cancer research that extended the lives of women by 25%. It's just announced groundbreaking research on glioblastoma brain cancer patients. So we're playing politics with funding that's supposed to currently be going to Alzheimer's victims, stroke victims, diabetes victims, and that advancement can't wait for politics.
Tough shit. It's going to have to under this administration. We'll just be 4 years behind the curve line. Meanwhile, Scott Jennings, a pathetic asshole, claims that Harvard doesn't allow differing viewpoints. No, seriously, like the contribution that he gives to CNN, which I can't even watch anymore because they become so despicable in placing people like Scott Jennings on a panel that just says stupid things all the time within which to try to, exonerate the actions of this administration. What, Harvard doesn't allow differing viewpoints? Bullshit. Play the clip.
And he's saying to these universities, you cannot simply screen out all viewpoints that don't adhere to your anti-Western civilization
absolutely
worldview.
No one is doing that.
Absolutely they are.
No, they're not.
Scott, you and I have both been on college campuses recently.
What evidence do you have that they're
I've been on a college campus recently, and I can certainly use my eyes and ears. These are hotbeds of anti-American and anti-Western civilization activity, and everybody knows it. And there's no dissent on these campuses.
Oh, so wait, now MAGA wants DEI.
Everyone's afraid.
Now they want to be included. Like, now they want affirmative action for them. Like, that's cool.
So
now
you admit that you want.
Yeah. So what's amazing here is that he walked onto the campus and he already knows that it's an anti-American, anti-democracy, movement going on there. Meanwhile, this is the craziest thing. They allow this asshole to speak like that, right? It's actually Trump's viewpoint that he doesn't want any university to be permitted to espouse. It's the exact opposite. It is what I've been talking about since the day I first started this channel. It's all about deflection. Deflect the truth and make it yours. Now, I want to end by showing you an article from the New York Times talking about how on Wednesday, Kristi Noem sent a letter to Harvard threatening them if they didn't pass along info on foreign students, what was going to happen. In it, turns around and says, Trump threatens to block Harvard from enrolling international students. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. The Trump administration said Harvard must share detailed records about its foreign students, an escalation in the administration's fight against prominent American schools. It further goes on to say, the Trump administration has threatened to block Harvard University from enrolling international students unless the school hands over these detailed records about the student body, in another escalation of the federal government's fight against higher education. In a letter sent on Wednesday, Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary, asked for, and I quote, relevant information on each student visa holder at Harvard who had been involved in, again, quote, known illegal or dangerous activity. Finally, it turns around and says she also requested information on the coursework of student visa holders to verify that they had taken enough classes to maintain non-immigrant student status. The quote, it is a privilege to have a foreign student attend Harvard University, not a guarantee, Ms. Noem wrote in the letter, which was obtained by the New York Times. The United States government understands that Harvard University relies heavily on foreign student funding from over 10,000 foreign students to build and maintain their substantial endowment. Now, let me be clear about something. As somebody who had sent these types of letters to various different institutions on behalf of Mr. Trump in order to prevent his school records from being released under the threat of litigation, what they are doing here is despicable, it is grotesque, and it lacks any foundation. If in fact that there are individuals who are anti-democratic and act in a manner like a sleeper cell, I could understand it. But espousing a different viewpoint, isn't that what higher education is all about? Isn't that how civil rights came about? Women's rights came about? Isn't that how America evolves? Well, maybe I'm talking past tense. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hey everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.